Closing day. It's the finish line when you're selling your home, right? That one big, exciting moment you've been working so hard for. But let's be real, it can also feel like this giant maze of last-minute details. So in this explainer, we're going to break down exactly how to navigate it all with total confidence, and most importantly, walk away with the payout you deserve. So which one is it going to be for you? The grand finale you've been dreaming of, or just one last big dose of stress? It's totally normal to feel a bit of both. But the good news is, with the right preparation, you can really tip the scales heavily toward grand finale and just leave all that anxiety behind. Okay, first things first. Before we jump into the how-to, we've got to understand the what. Seriously, knowing precisely what closing even means is the very first step to taking control of the entire process and moving forward with some real confidence. At its heart, closing, sometimes called settlement, is pretty simple. It's that moment the ownership officially transfers to the buyer and the money officially transfers to you. Sounds easy, right? Well, don't let that simple definition fool you. The process involves a whole lot of moving parts that all need to align just perfectly for a smooth transaction. So how do we get all those moving parts to line up? Simple. We use a roadmap. These next 5 steps are going to be your guide, taking you from that initial agreement all the way to your final payout. Let's dive in. All right, here's the journey. It all starts with that purchase agreement, locking in all the terms. Next up, and this one's a biggie, are your property disclosures. Then comes the title search to make sure there are no ownership disputes hiding in the shadows. After the buyer does their final walkthrough, everyone finally meets for the settlement. See? Each step just logically builds on the last one, paving the way for a really successful closing. Okay, if you only remember one thing from this whole process, let it be this. Preparing your property disclosures early is absolutely critical. I can't stress this enough. So many delays, so many headaches come from last-minute surprises found in this paperwork. Getting ahead of this step is probably the single most powerful thing you can do to keep everything on track. And look, this isn't just some theory I'm talking about. Let's look at a real-world example from East Bridgewater that shows you perfectly how being proactive can make all the difference when it comes to closing day. So this seller, right? They had all their disclosures done and ready to go way ahead of time. So when the buyer's lender needed a little more information, which happens all the time and causes a last-minute scramble, there was no panic, no stress. Because they were prepared, that potential delay just, poof, disappeared, and the closing happened right on schedule. Beautiful. So what was the result of all that foresight? A big fat 0. That's right, 0 unexpected delays and 0 last-minute stress. That is the goal, my friends, and it's the direct result of a seller who is organized, thorough, and totally prepared. So, why does all this prep matter so much? Because a smooth closing isn't just about avoiding a headache, It has a direct, tangible impact on your bottom line. Let's break down exactly how. The contrast here is pretty stark. A delayed closing can mean you're on the hook for extra mortgage payments, more holding costs, and just a ton of unnecessary stress. But a smooth closing, that leads directly to a faster payout, it builds the buyer's confidence in the deal, and it gives you some invaluable peace of mind. The choice is pretty clear. And you know what? It actually goes even deeper than that. When you handle your end of the deal like a pro, you build a reputation. And that's not just about feeling good. It translates into real-world advantages. Buyers and their agents see you as reliable, which can actually increase your property's appeal and even strengthen your negotiating position for better offers. So, this is really what it all boils down to. Every single bit of organization and preparation you do today isn't just busy work. Think of it as a direct investment in securing a faster, smoother, and more profitable payout tomorrow. And that leaves us with one final thought. As you get closer to your own closing day, just ask yourself this. Is the work I'm doing right now truly setting me up to walk away with top dollar and 0 stress? Because with the right roadmap, it absolutely can.